Hello and welcome to Operation Fix My Life from Ordinary to Extraordinary. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Lene, and this channel is just all about my documentation of steps that I'm taking to improve 4 key areas of my life. And those areas are my finances, my family, my fitness, and my future. So I am so excited about this video. This is a collaboration video between myself, Laura from How to Get Your Ish Together, and Chris over at Project Lifecoach. So it's really funny because when I started YouTubing back in the summer, Chris and Laura's channels were the first 2 channels that I found and subscribed to. So I started connecting with them a little bit over the past couple months, and then the idea of a collaboration came together. And I'm telling you, I felt like a huge fangirl at first. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. But I think it makes sense. Chris, Laura, and I have very similar life goals. Our channels are very similar in what we're trying to put out there. And so we thought it would be fun to bring you guys a minimalist tag video where the 3 of us will go ahead and answer the same 5 questions that we have on the topic of minimalism. Of course, we would have loved to have been in the same room, sitting next to each other doing this video together, but unfortunately that didn't happen, so this is gonna have to do. So after you watch this video, if you haven't already, make sure you go over to Chris and Laura's channels. I've provided the links to their videos right here in the description box. So let's go ahead and get started. Well, I know I've always been attracted to the minimalist aesthetic. When I walk into a minimalist space, I associate that with cleanliness, with organization. And contrastly, when I walk into a space that's very cluttered and disorganized, that feels like a very messy and dirty space to me. And then just very recently, I stumbled upon the Netflix documentary called Minimalism. And after watching that, I really feel like it gave a voice to some things that I've been feeling for a long time that I really haven't been able to articulate. And that's the fact that with each passing year, the little bit older that I get, I feel like I'm turning into more and more of a hippie and rejecting this whole idea and culture of accumulation and consumerism. No matter how much money we have, no matter how much we're able to spend and accumulate, if there is emptiness inside of us, there's no amount of stuff or money that's going to be able to fill that emptiness. I also personally think that it's the accumulation of so many items that really distracts away from the things that are supposed to be the most important to us in this life, like relationships with our friends and family, and the ability to feel appreciation and gratitude for the lives we have. As I was watching the Minimalism documentary on Netflix, there was one particular author on there. His name is Patrick Rohn, and he wrote a book called Enough. And so I feel like that was a great word to define minimalism for me. I feel like minimalism is having just enough to reduce stress. The stress of having too little, where you don't know how you're going to live and how you're going to survive, or the stress of having too much, where you feel like you have to spend your entire life working your butt off to afford to upkeep and maintain all the stuff that you have. The hardest area for me to declutter is definitely my kitchen. Now forgive me if I feel like I'm going off the deep end, but just follow me here for just a second. So my husband and I were really young parents. When we had our oldest daughter, we were young, dumb. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know how to take care of a home, how to cook, how to clean. And so I remember discovering the Food Network channel, and I became obsessed with the Food Network. And it was actually the Food Network that taught me how to cook. And once I was learning how to cook, it was over. I was buying every single kitchen gadget and gizmo I could lay my hands on. So I always associated my mom with being the example. And I know that she was just an excellent cook. She made awesome meals for us all the time. And so when she would come from New York to visit us, I took really great pride in being able to have a kitchen that had absolutely everything she could possibly need. And still, 11 years later, I look around and try to declutter my kitchen and I'm like, oh my gosh, what if my mom comes to visit and she actually needs this to cook for us? So I'm working on it, you know? I'm trying to work through these things, work through these feelings and emotions. And if you watch my KonMari kitchen video, you saw the struggle that I had. And I believe that once I can work through these feelings, then I can actually really start letting some stuff go. It's really hard not to judge them. I mean, honestly, when I walk into a house that has just all this clutter and crap around, I'm like, you know, you really don't need all this stuff, right? No, but seriously, I deal with non-minimalists, especially in my home, you know, between my husband and my kids, by constantly reminding myself that my life is not all about me and my happiness. Yes, when I walk into a perfectly decluttered and organized space that brings me so much happiness and joy, but it's not fair of me to impose what I want on everyone else in my family just for the sake of my own happiness. So I just remedy that by, you know, trying to lead by example, by trying to keep my own personal spaces decluttered. And I've actually seen the magic of leading by example and how that can influence the other people in my family to try to get on board. So if you're like me, if you're new to minimalism or you're thinking about jumping and diving in and taking that plunge, this is going to sound a little weird, but I actually suggest that you start journaling, because what I'm finding is that there is so much emotional attachment when it comes to stuff, and specifically trying to get rid of stuff. What I'm finding is that my attachment to certain things is actually connected to some untruths that I can't let go of. For example, if you're the kind of person that just has a ton of clothes and shoes that you just can't seem to let go of, or you just can't seem to stop buying, do you believe that the clothes and shoes you have define who you are? Or if you're someone that has like a lot of mementos or sentimental items, is it because you feel that your greatest years and your happiest times are behind you? What I found in my journey is that letting go of stuff is equivalent to continuing to move forward into the person you want to become. And when we hold on to things that we have emotional attachments to, I believe it does two things. One, it keeps our emotions and our memories trapped inside of those items instead of in our hearts where they belong. And number two, I feel like it holds us in the past. I feel like it prevents us from being able to take steps forward, to find new experiences, to create new memories, and to actually shape and create the kind of future that we really, really want for ourselves. So if you're thinking about taking the minimalist plunge, definitely I suggest journaling and working through some of those emotional things first, because that will definitely make the process a lot easier and quicker. So this video is actually great timing, because next month, for the month of February, I'm going to do a decluttering minimalist challenge for myself. I'm going to spend the majority of every weekend in February trying to declutter my house once again. So if you're curious to follow my journey on that, or if you're curious to know what else I'm up to, some of the other areas in Operation Fix My Life, then feel free to check out www.operationfixmylife.com. Or if you want to follow me on social media, I have the links to my profiles in the description box as well. So that's all from me. Once again, make sure you check out Laura and Chris's videos to hear their responses to these same questions. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you next time.